Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, welcome to Althea on this another glorious Colorado Sunday with blue sky. Unbelievably gorgeous. My name is Rick Kitzman, and so I'll be guiding us through the service this morning. Wonderful service for you. Let's see. Everybody knows that on May 20th was National Be a Millionaire Day. I guess if you're a billionaire, you'd be slumming it. And May 18th was National No Dirty Dishes Day. So if your phone goes off during the service, you will be coming to my place and you'll be doing dishes. So, put your... Hello. Somebody dropped an earring. All right. So please put your phones on vibrate or stun. A reminder that today is the last day to do the survey. If you're not on our mailing list, please see me or Susan, who's running the camera, and she'll be in the back. She's waving her hand there. Any of our greeters, so that we can get you on the mailing list, or get you we can even get a printed ballot as well. This is so that we get our congregation's feedback on what they want through this transition. For those of you who are new, and by the way, how many first-timers do we have here? Oh my gosh, 1, 2. Darrell? Where's Darrell? Darrell? Raise your hands again so that we can give you a carnation here. We just want, so that people know our newbies, and we can say a special hello. And please see Susan again, or me, or Sarma, our head of the volunteers, so that we can get you on our mailing list, and if you want to be. But we just want to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for showing up. We hope you enjoy today and hope you'll come back. A few more announcements. We have a table up here, which is set up for, what do you call it, Barbara? It's an altar, okay. And that was a difficult word for me to find this morning. It's an altar for blessings. And what that means is that you can bring mementos of loved ones or special objects that mean something to you and that you would like to have extra blessings for through the course of the service. The 4 winds are honored, 4 directions are honored during this service, and then just remember to take it back with you. And if you want to bring something next week, if you're new or didn't know about it. Yes, Barbara. Yeah, don't bring that tire that you need blessed so it's no longer flat. And of course, you'll notice a lot of people are not wearing masks. Woohoo! Now, we also, however, want to make sure that we are respectful of those who have masks on. And because it's a very, these are unprecedented times, and we are going on the honor system, so that's why I have this Bible here. And so each of you will be asked to swear that you are vaccinated before you leave today. Okay. Oh, you have your card. All right, even better. Yeah, really. A few other announcements. We have some classes here. Kathy Humphreys is and has been running our Althea Center Community Connections each Thursday. This is from 11 to 12:30. So if you would like to stay connected, please join that. It is a Zoom class. The Enneagram is coming up. It's a spiritually based system of 9 personality styles and offers profound practical guidance for everyday life. This will be run by Julia Foster. It has already started, but it's still available. Suzanne Hunt is running Healing Meditations 3. Discover yourself in the spiritual nature of your relationships and agreements. And then we have community outreach and volunteers. Is Sarma close by? Sarma in the back here, raising her hand, is our wonderful volunteer coordinator. And if you have some extra time or would like to be of service to the community or to the facility itself or to members of the community, then please see Sarma. And let's see. Mariposa, which is our wonderful LGBTQ plus organization here at Althea, is having an in-person program. Is this the first one since a long time ago? Gender Identity, One Trans Woman's Perspective, with Reverend Arika King. This will be 6:30 to 8, and it's 6 to 6:30 is social time. So show up a little early, enjoy some refreshments, get to know people. This is June 2nd, there it is. So explore gender identity from the personal perspective of Reverend King. Okay, so now it's time for opening prayer. And for those of you who are new, this is a time just to sort of go inward and be a little quieter. And then we will conclude that portion with what we call Althea's Statement of Being. And then we'll move on into the gist of the service. So if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a couple deep breaths. And in this quiet and in this silence, we connect with that energy that is always there and always present. But sometimes with the noise of the world, I know I do, forget it's there. But with perfect confidence, each one of us can, with the quiet and with the focus, just be and just know that that still small voice that breathes us is our inviolate connection to the divine. Because in our heart of hearts, we know that there is no separation. There is no such thing as separation. And in this second, in this moment, in this minute, in this time, we acknowledge that connection and know that it is always there. Today's service is about vibration, and so in this moment we align ourselves with a vibration of the holy. And this is a sacred moment. And in the sanctity of this beautiful sanctuary, we acknowledge the presence of everyone here, each one an individualized vibration of the divine. And each one of us connects to that divine on our own wavelength. And so I simply know that each of our paths has brought us here today for this special, beautiful, peaceful, loving moment. And it is in this facility that with each other, unified to each other, to each other's beating heart in this beautiful environment, we find the succor and the strength and the peace and the love that each of us is, and we take that with us wherever we go. And so with a heart filled with gratitude, blessing this place and all churches and synagogues all over the world, and no matter what religion, there is only one Spirit. And we just breathe again and let go of any strife. And we know that we are truly connected to the divine. And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. All right. So, continuing with Althea's statement of being, for those of you who are new or unfamiliar, this beautiful building, which is going to celebrate its 100th anniversary next year, is the result of the consciousness of a group of women, the Brooks sisters and others, who began the first divine science philosophy long time ago, over 100 years ago. And in the 1920s, they were able to build this beautiful, beautiful building. And so we are the recipients of their consciousness, of their unity with the connection to the divine, infinite abundance and joy, and what Norma Brooks called omni-life. And so if you know it, we'll just read it. And if you don't know it, just follow along as best you can. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And so we have, as usual of our tradition here, wonderful musical entertainment, and it is no exception today.
Added sound in the back was from, that was Alec. And I'm Gregg Wilkins, and this is Alec Sims. He may be a familiar face to some of you if you've ever followed Jonathan Goldman's Healing Sounds. He's part of that, and he's also done 2 of the Shift Network Sound Summits, Sound Healing Summits. He has been the MC, interviewer. So I'm really grateful that Alec has chose to join me. So this one, if you feel like it, close your eyes and just kind of drift with it, because the hand pan with the guitar is just kind of a floaty thing. Thank you, Alec.
Can I give you the introduction here? I forgot.
Really? They don't know who I am?
Well, they do now. Gregg Wilkins, right?
The guy behind the big piece of metal?
The guy behind the curtain there. Gregg Wilkins is, of course, our speaker and our entertainer today, our wonderful musician. He works as a vibrational activator and sound sculptor. He's a composer, a drum circle facilitator. Gregg studied music and acoustics at Chicago Musical College and went on to attend the State Institute of Sonology in the Netherlands, where he studied the psychological and physiological effects of sound and vibration on the body. Fascinating. He's been doing work in the sound vibrational healing field for over 25 years. So once again, please welcome Gregg Wilkins.
Well, he just took most of my talk, so. First off, I'm really grateful to be here at Althea, and thank you all for showing up, probably going, what's this guy going to talk about? And it's an interesting story how it came to be. I had done the gong bath here a month ago, and prior to that, I had been setting an intention and working with holding the thought of, I would really love to be speaking more. And then this little angel, Ginny, came up and go, would you be interested in speaking at Althea? I went, Brings up a really good point. If you see it in your mind and you feel it, I'm not worried about the how. She took care of the how. It can manifest. And for those of you that are Ernest Holm and Neville Goddard fans, I think you all know this feeling and this whole thing of holding that thought and holding that presence so that you can manifest what you want. And I am so grateful to be able to do this. I love doing this. So I get to do my job that I love. And what I'm going to do today is try and take 2 hours worth of stuff and leave time for questions and answers and get you out of here at a reasonable time, because I have a gong bath to do at 12:30. My belief is that everything is energy. And I know there's been a lot of quantum physics research on breaking down how much empty space is in atoms and things like that. But to me, it's more, it works on a vibrational and a frequency where not only are we hearing things, but we're picking up things through our bones, through our skin, and some things we're not even aware of that we're picking up. I know there's been a lot of talk about microwaves and 5Gs, but there's also the earth puts off a frequency, and we feel that, and that comes in through us. We may not be hearing it, but it's still having an effect on our bodies. And so it's one of the things that I love when I'm working with the gongs. This large gong has the ability, according to the manufacturer, to do 33 octaves. Now, for those of you that are math or music geeks, 33 octaves is well above and below what we can hear. So with the gong, you're also having that experience of picking up things through bone conduction and skin conduction. And to me, and I hope I'm not stepping on shaky ground here with some people, but there's talks of certain frequencies taking care of certain problems. I'm not a person that goes out and says, I can diagnose what you have. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be. I work with the sound. What comes into you is for you. You take it in, you let your body work with it. So whatever place you're at is where the sound will go. If someone tells you 432 is the right frequency for you, maybe it is. And if you believe that person, that can be really powerful. But if you're not sure and you're going through things in your life that might be emotional, physical, spiritual, you can just relax when we're doing the gong, lay back, and let it go where it needs to go. because what we think might be a problem may not actually be the core of the problem. And that's where I really love working with the gongs, because if you let the monkey mind go, you have the ability to let that come through you and transmit through you. And Ginny asked me to give some examples. So we'll talk about some of the things on the physical level. I had a person who was doing a session with me, and I usually, I check with people beforehand what's going on if they want to tell me. And nothing was going on from what they had said. And we get done, and this person's just up, stretching, going, and I'm like, everything okay? And she goes, yeah, it doesn't hurt. And I said, what? She goes, oh, I had a dislocated rib. Which would really have been a good thing to know when you're working with sound, because I don't know how many of you remember in the old days, the way they tested for a fracture was they put a tuning fork on it. If you didn't jump through the roof, it wasn't broken. If you jumped through the roof, something was wrong. So she had this happen to her, and for 2 weeks, I kept getting phone calls from her saying, it's still healed, it's still healed. And after the second week, she just said, I'm not calling you anymore, it's fixed, I don't care. It's good. And so I'm like, great. So that's, an unexpected effect. I had this girl that used to come, I think she started when she was 7 or 8. And the first session that I did with her, everyone had left. It took her an hour to wake up. And after that, she just kind of walked out smiling, got her ride home, everything was fine. But she continues to this day, and she's 19 now, to come to the gong sessions because it helps her in some way, shape, or form. And considering who she's grown into, it's going way beyond physical with her now. The last one I'm going to touch on, probably going to get a few reactions, but it's come to me from a number of people. I've had people come up and say they get orgasms. And I don't see it as a sexual thing. I see it as something where people are actually going into such a state of joy and relaxation that they're able to feel that joy throughout their whole body. So I think that's a really beautiful thing, and it's not, like I said, to be taken in a sexual sense. They're just ecstatic that they're there because they're feeling the joy within their body on a whole nother level. And I think that's really beautiful when people can do that. I'm waiting for it to happen to me, but yeah. I'm busy back there working. Come on, give me a break. On an emotional level, I've had people come in and they're like, I had one person that we had a group of people in there, and when we got done, she's like, I really want to apologize for all the screaming and yelling I was doing. And we all looked at her and that's fine, but I didn't hear anything. And the people next to her didn't hear anything. But when she got done, she just said, I had such a release of some trauma that had been going on in my life that I thought I was waking up the whole room and that you were going to stop. And it's like, it just kind of moved in, or maybe she was just opening her mouth, releasing. But she let go of so much stuff that it was really impressive that she was just so ecstatic at what had been let go of. I love this one. This is more of a spiritual consciousness level. I had a person come, it was the first one they had ever done. And I had no idea how they were going to respond. We got done. Some people are talking, but nobody's saying much of anything. And she goes, I've got something to say. And she had tears in her eye. It's like, okay. And she goes, I wasn't able to say goodbye to my grandmother before she passed away. And I felt really bad about that. I'm getting goosebumps on this one. And she goes, I just spent an hour saying goodbye to my grandmother. And I was like, whoa. I mean, you can probably tell. And she was so grateful for the fact that she had that closure with her grandmother. It's unique for each person how this works for you. You may get, it's like a meditation. You may get something out of it. You may not know for days. It can affect you on so many different levels, which is why I personally like working with these. These are more than instruments to me. They're my friends, they're my companions. They vibrate at levels that I can't even comprehend, and I just am grateful that I'm able to perform and work with them, because the stuff that these can do is incredible to me. I have these guides that come through, whether they are internal, external. I'm kind of more of an I am person, so we're all interconnected. Maybe they're inside, maybe they're outside, but if we're all one, what does it really matter? They're really, really helpful. For me, my experience that was the most powerful was when I thought I was doing something that was going to be really, really cool. And I started doing it on the gong, and that big one just shut down. It was in a full roar, and it just went shut down on me. And I'm like, and I get this little like thing in my head going, why do you think it shut down? I'm like, oh, that was me? And it's like, yeah, get out of that place. And as soon as I did, as soon as I recognized it, it started up again. I had people afterwards going, how did you do that? I'm like, I gave in. I let my ego go, because it's weird when you work with spirit and energy. When I'm working with these gongs, I'm doing a process. How many of you are familiar with Ho'oponopono? Anybody? Yeah, we've got some. Good. It's a Hawaiian, in case you couldn't tell by the name, way of working with life, meditation, people, and there's a phrase that they say, and it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I used to hold intention, but I found that intention, I didn't know what each one of you needed. You know, and that's hard for someone to go, well, I'm going to hold the intention for world peace. Well, maybe you're more concerned with what happened to you at work or in a relationship or something like that. So, you know, you're not in the same place of thinking world peace as well as I am. By doing the Ho'oponopono, I'm holding space for everyone wherever you are. And that's really, to me, when you're working with instruments like this, it's really important to hold that sacred space so that people feel safe. And besides that, it also allows me to get something back in. Because when you're here and I'm doing that, we're here for a reason. Just the same as all of you are here right now for a reason. So to me, that's the way of keeping things clear, because some people have said, how do you deal with it when you're working with large groups of people? Or when you're working with one person and they're like really having difficulties. I don't try and read what the difficulties are. I just work with them as another individual that's here, that's part of a greater whole, and we're sharing that together. You have your energy, I have mine, but we're part of a whole. Does that make sense to people? Yeah? So far, are there any questions, comments, observations, things that you want to bring up? Come on, this is going to have a Q&A, and I expect to see some hands up at some point. Didn't get anything off the orgasm, so I'm going to try. Pardon? The lower frequencies? The lower frequencies, for example, this gong is tuned, the large gong is tuned to a 136.1 hertz, which in some traditions is the sound of Om. But at the same time, when I put this gong on a scope, the scope goes well below into, like, mine just goes down to 20 hertz, so it doesn't go any lower than that, and it goes way above what mine does. The lower frequencies, I think, are good for helping when you're dealing with creative things, because when you look at it from a physiological standpoint, the way we stand and the way our bodies are built, if you look, down here is where we reproduce, we eliminate, it's where a lot of creative stuff happens. We think it up here, but it happens down here. I mean, babies happen down here. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty creative. And so when you work with the lower frequencies, they can be helping come through that creative desire. And a lot of them you won't even sense. You will sense. You won't feel them as much as you'll sense them. And for me, it's kind of impressive when low frequency starts to move through your body, because it's really like you're in the ocean and a wave is coming over you. The higher frequencies you can feel in specific parts. The lower frequencies kind of like just wash over you like a large wave. And does that help answer your question? Yes? Okay. So where was I? Let's see. Yeah, do we need these anymore? Oh, yeah, there is a great one that I had written down, so I will read it, because it's an Abraham Hicks quote, and I think it's really kind of sums up a lot of what's done. Matter is the evolution of energy. First there is thought, then there is thought form, and then there is matter. Matter is only thought that has been thought upon by more. Seeing a bunch of blank stares and some like... So, I mean, if you want to take that literally, we all thought this stage would be here, and if somebody started to mess around with that, I could fall through it. But literally, I think that's kind of what's going on. Matter vibrates at a certain frequency. We accept things at being at certain frequencies. How many remember the Celestine prophecy? Yeah, a few of us are old enough to remember that one. I mean, there was talk about being able to move through physical matter. There have been talks of different spiritual people in indigenous cultures that can do sorts of things like that. I've not personally seen it, but I don't believe it's not true that certain people can do that, because it's a way of moving and vibrating within your body. Let's see. Let's try this. You guys open to a little experiment? Okay. Turn to the person next to you or close to you. Try and find somebody. If you can't find anybody, look up here at me and I'll do it with you. Okay. Turn to that person and say, I love you. Feel pretty good? Let's take it one step further. Put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, and say, I love you to yourself. Yeah. Wow, I love how the room just shifted there. Wow, such a beautiful group of people. So, you see how your words carry power, your voice carries power, your mind, whether you said it out loud, whether you said it internally. But how many times do we tell ourselves that we love ourselves? It's a nice thing to do in the morning. Get up, look in the mirror and go, I love you. You're good. And feel how your vibration changes, because that's what it's about. Would you rather live in joy and happiness and love, or would you rather be, oh, darn, I got to go to work, Why do I have to do this? Who is that guy? And why put yourself through that starting up in the morning, even if you get out of bed and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to work, get up and go, hey, it's going to be a great day. As soon as you start feeling that, it's going to shift it more. For me, I see it as kind of like a little meter. I'm not there. I'm not 100%. I don't know if I'll ever get to be 100% there. However, if I go for like a degree every day or whenever I can, at some point I'm going to go past that 50% mark, and I'm going to have more joy in my life than frustration. And pretty soon that frustration is just going to go, I don't want to be here anymore. This is no fun. Well, it will be fun because it won't be there. But you can work with getting rid of it just by the way you approach yourself and in your life, just seeing the happiness and the joy and being grateful to be here and alive. And, I'm totally all over this sheet, so I don't know where I am. Sorry. We talked about the different frequencies. And this is a question that comes up to me when we're doing the gong baths or when we're done with the gong baths, like, what was that sound? What happened? And there's a lot of different reasons why things can change. Physically, we hear with our ears the majority of the things that people are coming up and asking me questions about. Each one of us hears things differently due to age, due to exposure to high sound levels, just due to the environment that we live in. So the way your ears are going to hear can be different than the person next to you. I had, at one of the colleges I went to, they went to get new headphones. And the head of the music department said, I really like these. The head of the music department was 80-some years old. Everybody else put on the headphones and went, oh, these sound like garbage cans. What's going on? And it turned out that he had lost most of his hearing, and those sounded good to him because he could understand speech in them. But everybody else was like, no, these aren't really good for music, sir. And, he understood that and moved with that because he knew some of the physics of acoustics. Reminds me, I had a acoustics professor that one time we were going into class. He wasn't there yet. We're all sitting in the room, and we're getting really antsy and anxious and actually kind of angry. And we're starting to get angry with each other. Like, well, where is he? He's the teacher. He's supposed to be here on time. How come he's not here? He walks in the room, walks up to a piece of equipment, flips it off. The whole room goes, we're all calm. He goes, are you feeling any better now? And we're like, what did you do? And he goes, you were part of an experiment I was conducting. And he was working with how different frequencies, whether we were aware of them or not, would change our emotional being. And he took a whole classroom that were pretty mellow people and took it and made us like, where are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you here yet? Type of thing. And all of a sudden he flicks it off and you felt the whole shift in the room. So sound can be really powerful. How we hear can be really powerful. There's, the geeky part is frequency is physical. It can be measured. You give a note a 440 pitch, which is what we tune most of our concert instruments to. Pitch, however, because of different things, that can happen with pitch, will change for people. You have the sound of a guitar, you have the sound of a flute, playing the same note. You can hear them differently. I'll work with the gong. I'll play a sound, and someone will say, oh, it sounded like violins. Someone will say, oh, it sounded like a choir of angels. Some people say, it sounds like fingers on a chalkboard. Others hear trumpets. You get from the same sound, different group of people, different responses because it's also where you're at within yourself. What's going on? Are you feeling good about things? Maybe it brings up more happier sounds. Are you processing things? Maybe it does sound more like the fingers on the chalkboard, and these vibrations are here and going to you if you open up for wherever you want them to move into your body. And that's the beautiful thing about it. If you can get out of your head and just relax, you can go through, and the sound and the vibrations can do amazing things with you. So, how are we doing on time, Jane? Okay. First off, question, yes. I didn't even ask it and you had it. Good job. The question is, are the chakras associated with certain frequencies? A lot of people are yes. I think they are. But the chakras are also all interconnected. So as you're working with one, you're working with the others. And Alec, do you remember any of those? The chakra frequencies?
Well, the most common thing one will discover is correlate a C scale with the chakras.
Yeah.
And that's a common model.
Yeah.
Not right or wrong. It's a model to work with.
So these are all things that you can take and use. If you feel, like Alec was saying, it's a C scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And bingo. Play it in minor now. But it's like we were talking about specific frequencies. If you feel it's going to help you, it probably will help you. If you have a practitioner that you believe will take care of you, and they say this is what you need, and you believe in them, it probably will help you. If you're going, I don't know where this person's coming from, then you need to feel within yourself. And ultimately, this comes down to all of us kind of taking responsibility for ourselves. Because if your practitioner says this is the frequency you need, and you believe it, you are the one that's doing the work. Okay? They were just insightful enough to know that this is what you might need. I don't see things that clearly when I'm doing the gongs, so I just kind of hold the space for everyone and let that sound come out and move through you as you feel appropriate. Some people may have the low frequencies moving through them. Other people might be pulling in the high frequencies. And it's interesting because for me, when people give me feedback, I'll have people talking about the same part of the session, and somebody just pulled out the highs, and somebody else was pulling out the lows, and somebody else was pulling out the middle sounds. Who hasn't heard what the gong sounds like? Has everybody heard the gongs? Okay, good. Then I don't have to try and see if it'll go through this lavalier and freak out Jason back there, who's kind enough to keep this going. The gong, just in hitting one tone, will generate all these other sounds and tones within it. The design of a gong is such, because it's a big sheet of metal, most instruments, like when Alec plays the guitar, his harmonics are fairly predictable. What comes off when he hits a string, you see it does an octave and then it's going to do a fifth, and that's the way a string will vibrate. Go ahead. Did you got it on? No reverb. So you get the low tone, there's the octave, and then there's the fifth that comes out. And it goes up to another octave, then it does a third, then it does another perfect fifth, and it goes on. Something like that. And so that's predictable. Flutes have different harmonics that come off of them. Because they're metal, it's slightly different. Violins, pianos, all have forms of harmonic. The gong, being a large vibrating piece of metal and metal composite, or metal alloy, will move not only its harmonics, but almost everything in between. So for those of you that are familiar with like what white noise is or pink noise, it's pretty much including the full sonic spectrum at some point. So if maybe you don't get something in the beginning, but when I'm doing another part, all of a sudden your body is responding and reacting to it, that is bringing up something for you. It may not be possible to do it for the whole gong bath. You might be totally immersed in the whole gong bath, just depending where you want to go with it. So that's what I love about this particular instrument, is the fact that it pretty much encompasses all the sounds. And at some point, the sound that you might need, if you're open to it, you can receive it. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, the question was, how do I do everything with the gong? No. How do I pick the gong, to choose the gong? The gongs are real interesting. Nowadays, it's really hard to be able to go into a place unless you live near one of the few distributors that sells them, and they're getting more and more difficult to come by because these are handmade, this particular company. There are a lot of people still making gongs, but I find with them that I find one that I like and that I feel I can develop a rapport with, and then I start working with it. This little Jupiter gong on the side, for 2 months, I thought I had a one-trick pony, because I bought it from a person without having heard it. I just wanted to try it, and I was somewhat frustrated in the beginning, going, oh, I just spent all this money on something that makes one sound really cool. And after 2 months of playing with this gong, all of a sudden one day it just opened up. And I mean opened up. They started playing together and dancing, and I just sat back and listened, because I didn't even have to hit them. They were doing some beautiful harmonics, creating things in between the two gongs, because the sound of each one was playing off of. So like right in where that one pole is, they'd be creating sound. And so part of me says, yeah, if you can be in a place and pick out the gong that you want, that's great. But a lot of times the way things are, especially, when COVID was really strong, the only way you could get them was by going and having somebody mail one to you and hoping that if you really didn't like it, you could send it back. And, in the meantime, you're just waiting to see if it's going to work for you. I find with these two, I have another earth gong like this that I play with a friend of mine when he comes into town. We do 4 earth gongs at once for 2 hours. And that is just amazing to me, because they're all tuned exactly the same. But as time goes on, they get their little characteristics that develop. And we went to Nepal and Tibet together. And when I came back and started playing the gongs after that, I ended up calling him up and I go, do your gongs sound different? And he's like, yeah, they're like more mature, It's like, is it them or is it us, And he's like, yeah, I noticed, because when I started playing them, they had totally changed. They still responded really nicely, but they had more depth. I find with the big one, it allows me to open up portals, vortexes, and when doing that, that's done a lot more through me seeing it inwardly and projecting it, and all of a sudden I see it occurring within the gong. And generally I'll get responses from people after the gong bath. I said, did anybody go down the rabbit hole? And people were like, yep, felt that and went right in there. Kate's done that. Ruth has done that. Ken's done that. Wow, all the 3 row people. But it's one of those things that when you connect with it, like I said, I don't see them as instruments. I work with them. I don't know what to call them. They don't want to have names. I asked them that because somebody asked, "What do you call your gongs?" And they went, yeah, they didn't want names. So they're pretty much just their own being, and you'll find that if you go and you look for one and you start playing around, you'll know when the right one is. And if you get one and you're not sure, my advice would be stay with it for a while if you can and play it, because you'll start to develop a bond, a relationship, and it's amazing. It really is. One more minute or one more question? One question, Kate? Yeah?
Well, I know so much about what you do for you by experience, but I was curious, how long have you had your gongs that you play, like the earth gongs?
The earth gongs? The question was, how long have I had these? And the earth gongs have been over 15 years. One of them had an injury, and we found a person that was able to repair it, and it's been perfect ever since. And did that change it a little bit? Yeah, it did, but it made it feel more like a wiser. You know how like we all heal from our injuries and we get a little, okay, I'm not going to try and go up the stairs with a 100-pound backpack on my, you learn and you go through and understand a little better about what it's doing, how it's growing into you, how you're growing into it. And a lot of times I'll just get out of the way, like I said. I'll be playing it and something will start to happen and it's like, I'm stopping. The gongs are doing all the talking. We had it set up where all four of them were going, and when all four were going at once, I look over at my friend Richard, he looks over at me, and we're both sitting back, and the gongs are just playing. They're working off of the vibrations of each other, and they're dancing, and they did that for a minute or two, just on their own. So, yeah, I'm grateful they let me play them. Anything else? You want a song? Do we have time for one? Do you want a song with the cajon and guitar, or with guitar and the handpan? How many want handpan? How many want cajon? Okay. We'll do both. Oh, you Jason. No. Let's do the traffic. Okay.
Thank you. And you're going to be doing a gong session after the service, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so stick around. We also have a reading by long-term member Bruce. 2 readings.
Good morning. So there's the question was find some readings on sound. So I was searching that and found what I feel are 2 lovely readings, and as opposed to trying to make a choice between either one, I figured I'd do them both. So the first was by Robert Frost. It's called "The Sound of Trees." I wonder about the trees. Why do we wish to bear forever the noise of these more than another noise so close to our dwelling place? We suffer them by the day till we lose all measure of pace and fixity in our joys and acquire a listening air. They are that talks of going but never gets away, and that talks no less for knowing as it grows wiser and older, that now it means to stay. My feet tug at the floor, and my head sways to my shoulder sometimes when I watch the trees sway from the window or the door. I shall set forth for somewhere. I shall make the reckless choice someday when they are in voice and tossing so as to scare the white clouds over them on. I shall have less to say, but I shall be gone. And then the second one is by a fellow named George Bradley, and it's "The Sound of the Sun." It makes one all right, though you hadn't thought of it. A sound like the sound of the sky on fire, like Armageddon, whistling and crackling, the explosions of sunlight booming as a huge mass of gas rages into the emptiness around it. It isn't a sound you are often aware of, though the light speeds to us in seconds, each dawn leaping easily across a chasm of space that swallows the sound of that sphere. But if you listen closely some morning, when the sun swells over the horizon and the world is still and still asleep, you might hear it, a faint noise so far inside your mind that it must come from somewhere, from light rushing to darkness, energy burning towards entropy, towards a peaceful solution, burning brilliantly, spontaneously in the middle of nowhere. And you too must make a sound that is somewhat like it, though that, of course, you have no way of hearing at all.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see the lower half of your faces on some of you. For those of you who are new, you would normally see about 3 to 4 times this number of people, and we're going to see that again. We're building our Sundays. We're building back up, right? So we have so many cool things coming up over the next few months, just like today, right? And what he keeps referring to is there is a gong bath here at 12:30. It does cost, right? You have to register, and so see Susan in the back there, Susan at the camera, if you'd like to become part of it, because this is how Gregg makes his living, right? He does gong baths. My hope is that we could do maybe like a once-a-month gong bath at some point, and this is how folks in the community will find us. So that's cool. So that's today at 12:30, and we have coffee after the service. Normally, we have a dining room full of brunch food. Again, we're working back into that as we come back together, but we will have coffee and tea and water, so please stick around and get to know folks. But let me tell you what's coming up for the next few Sundays. Next Sunday, the 30th, we're going to do an amazing session called In Memoriam, the Light of Loss. This is your opportunity to bring photographs of loved ones you lost during the pandemic, of anything you feel like kind of went away during this last year plus. We want to honor that time. We lost some people near and dear to us. And so bring objects, bring photographs, but we're also going to talk about the joy that comes from this and the things that we've gained. So that's next Sunday. Of course, amazing special music is part of everything we do. We're also going to have some special rituals going on. The next one, June 6th, is the Soul of Music. Doug Fisicello will be here with us. We're going to have several musicians up here, and he's going to talk about how the soul comes through music in our lives. So amazing music on that Sunday. Then we're into Juneteenth and Black Lives Matter. So please come. We're going to have, again, an amazing message. We're going to have amazing music. We then go into Father's Day. We have a speaker, special guy who comes from not quite our community, but came through our community, Jay Euchre, who's going to be speaking with us. And I'm trying to get a band that I saw at Swallow Hill. How many of you know Swallow Hill music? Bluegrass. It's a trio of women called the Front Porch Sisters. Banjo, guitar, fiddle. It's going to be fantastic. Pride Fest comes after that. We always do great things with our LGBTQ community and our LGBTQ folks. So that will be amazing. Fire and Faith, Young Voices. We're going to have open mic. We're going to have millennials, Gen Z up here doing their music, doing their poetry. Folks, it just goes on and on. The Heart of Home, we're going to have some folks who have dealt with housing insecurity, and they're going to talk about what that's been like. So more to come. Keep coming. Tell the folks that you don't hear, hey, where have you been? Or I'm sorry, hey, where have you been? We don't do this anymore, right? Where have you been? Come on out. Some do. Okay, Rick still has a phone. That's a phone for you youngins out there. Anyway, keep coming. We love to have you. Thank you, Greg. Is he going to do just a tiny bit more and then a special thing? Do we have time? No? Okay. So, oh, we look so sad. Can you do like a 3-minute with that thing? Okay, we're going to do a 3-minute with that thing. And then closing. Do you want to do closing prayer now?
No, let's have it.
Do that, then closing prayer, then don't leave.
Your prayer and I'll play along underneath.
Okay, I'm just going to step off the stage. I've lost control. Like I never had it.
Okay, normally at some point during the service we pass the plate for donations from your heart. We are not up to that point yet. However, we do still have a basket in the back, so take advantage of that. We also have a wonderful new contraption called a dip jar, which is where it's a little device where you simply dip your credit card and boom, you make a donation. So please take advantage of it. You can go dip, 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 dip as many times as you want. Thank you so much to everyone who made today possible. All of our volunteers, Susan, Darrell, our entertainment and speaker for today. These things don't happen by themselves. So thank you to everyone who helped us. Aaron. We do have prayer partners after the service today. For those of you who need an affirmative prayer, please take advantage of our prayer partners. They will be meeting through this door or around the corner in our prayer room, meditation room. So if you're feeling like you need an extra boost for the week or you have something on your mind, don't hesitate to utilize one of them. Don't forget, today is the last day to do the survey, and I think that's it. Time for a closing prayer with Connie, one of our practitioners.
Thank you, Rick. So what a gift, what an honor to all that has been present right here, right now. So let's take this opportunity to take that breath, to move it into our heart, to connect with that source that we know as love, as music, as vibration. We may call it God, or we may just call it life. But we absolutely know that presence, that power, that infinite knowingness has been with us throughout this whole time together, and that it goes with us as we go out into the world. For there is nowhere we can be that it is not. For it is life. It is us. It is. And so for that, we feel the gratitude. We allow that gratitude to vibrate us, to be us. And we give thanks, knowing that this power has blessed each one of us. And we let go. We accept the gifts. We accept the knowing. We say thank you, knowing it is so, that this blessing for Althea, for each person, for each music opportunity is all good, very good, and so it is. Amen.
I love the colorful clothes she wears and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair. When I look in her eyes, as the perfume lifts her wonderful words through the air.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations.
Close my eyes. She's somehow closer now. Softly smile, I know she must be kind. When I look in her eyes, we go softly to a blossom room.
Doom, 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 doom. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. Oh my, what elation.
Don't know where, but she sends me there.
Oh my, one sensation.
Oh my, one elation.
Oh my, one. Gotta keep those loving good vibrations are happening with her. Gotta keep those loving good vibrations are happening with her. Gotta keep those loving good vibrations are happening with her. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations.
Na 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 na
Ba 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 ba.
na na
Ba 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 ba.
na na
Ba 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 ba. Thank you. That's my good friend Kirk Maple. Thank you, Kirk Maple. And Rick Stanton on the piano. Thank you so much, Kirk and Rick.